We have breaking news in the killing of Jamal Khashoggi, the journalist murdered in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul back in October. Well, according to the New York Times, White House advisor and son-in-law of the president, Jared Kushner, offered advice to Mohammed bin Salman about how the Saudi prince could weather the storm after international condemnation of the Khashoggi death. Now, this week, the CIA director reinforced the agency's belief that the prince ordered the journalist killed. CNN has reached out to the White House for a response. Khashoggi's editor at the Washington Post, Karen Ataya, responding to the New York Times reporting, tweeting, "This is insane." And joining me now is Washington investigative reporter for the New York Times, Mark Mazzetti. He co-wrote this story. Mark, you write that Kushner became the prince's most important defender within the White House after this scandal. Brooke, tell us about the advice Kushner gave to the prince and the relationship the two have cultivated.
The relationship is one that's gone on for about 2 years, really since President Trump was elected during the transition. Kushner starts getting kind of a tutorial about the region, and he comes to understand the significance of this young prince, who at the time, remember, was the third-ranking person in Saudi Arabia. Now he is the crown prince, the heir to the throne. Since Khashoggi's killing, we report that he's continued these messaging conversations with Mohammed bin Salman, and some of the advice he's given is unclear, but it's our understanding that he has been advising him to settle some of his problems in the region, within the kingdom, avoid mistakes, that clearly the killing of Khashoggi was more than a mistake, but he sees MBS as someone who is the future and I think an important ally to the United States.
President Trump has obviously been criticized for his lack of response to Khashoggi's death. Is Jared Kushner part of the calculus this administration is making?
So our understanding certainly is that Jared Kushner has argued since the killing, basically that this relationship is important, it needs to survive, and in essence, there's a lot at stake in the U.S.-Saudi partnership. And so sort of keep the big picture in mind. No one is saying that he's condoning the killing, certainly, but that he's saying that you've got to look at the long term, and also that this young crown prince is the long-term future of Saudi Arabia, someone who could potentially rule the kingdom for decades.
I think it's so fascinating that in your reporting, you talk about this relationship between Kushner and MBS being something the Saudis really wanted, that Saudi officials sought out. Is there a chance that they're using Kushner as a pawn?
Well, I don't know about that, and we don't infer that in our reporting, certainly. We do say, though, that they saw Jared Kushner as an important voice, an influential voice in the White House, someone who he said at the very beginning wanted to deal with the Israel-Palestine issue. It's something he believes in very strongly, and the Saudis have always been seen as a linchpin for that. So they saw each other as important, and they saw each other as useful partners to get the things done that they wanted done.
Mark Mazzetti, really interesting piece. Thank you for your reporting and for joining us and sharing it with us. We appreciate it.
Sure, thank you.